Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. I will say this is a day in which the Most High Yah has made, and I, Sister Deborah, shall rest therein. You know, I'm going to title this video, Where Do We Go From Here? Where do we go from here? And the only place I, as a sister in the body of Hamashiach, would say is to the bosom of the Most High Yah and Him only. This is such a time in which we are to be running to His bosom. You know how a child see his mother at a distance and she called his name, or a father at a distance and the father calls his name and he come running, open arms, and the father is just delighted to see the face on the child and how his arms are spread wide to receive him, and he's running. He don't know if he's going to trip or he's going to fall, but all he's looking at his father or his mother, stretched out arms, calling his name. Well, that's where we're at today. Whether we know it or not, the Most High Yah is calling us. He's calling us. He's calling us by name. He wanting us to turn from our wicked ways. He wanting us to repent and to worship Him. And our worship can't be using the technology nor the techniques of man. We have to find somewhere in us a spirit of who we are, so that spirit can embrace the Most High Yah. We are in a time like no other, even though we feel so comfortable in putting our trust in man. And He said, put your trust in no man, because He knew that He was sending the Ruach HaKodesh, one that you would put your full trust in. Why? Because He was going to be your comforter, so you wouldn't need man. He was going to be your teacher, so you wouldn't be man. And He was not just a normal teacher, you guys. He was going to be the teacher of all things. I'm prophetess in the wilderness will say. People always asking me, how did you know how to do that? How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you know how to fix this? How did you know how to repair this? You know why? Because I have trusted in Him, not just to be the teacher of that which is biblical and the biblical out of the teacher of the biblical word, but the things in which natural, even the Ruach will teach you. Oh yes, He comes to teach you all things. We need to understand that He is all that and some. He is a revealer. That means when you come upon situations or issues, He will reveal it to you beforehand. He will reveal it to you beforehand. And He would bring things to your remembrance, because a lot of things the Most High has given us when we was a little child, when we were teenagers, when we were in college, and we were young adults. He had given us, and we have turned a full face from. So when you have the Ruach HaKodesh, He's going to come and He's going to bring them things back to you, so you can remember how long the Most High Yah has been with you. Isn't that beautiful? The things that He's going to bring back to your remembrance is like until when He was with the 12 disciples. When the Holy Spirit came upon them and it was indulged, it's now living in them. Now they began to remember the things that they were taught, the things that Yeshua had spoken unto them. That's how potent the Ruach HaKodesh is. He's going to bring things back to your remembrance, things in your life that was revealed to you as a younger person, even as a child, like with me with 4 years old, things way back. That's why, see, honestly, it's a lot of things you shouldn't be able to remember. But when you have the Ruach HaKodesh in you, He's going to bring those things back to your remembrance. That's the power of who He is. That's the one that you're not supposed to trust man, but trust him. If you don't tell me that ain't beautiful, I don't know what is. So I'm saying unto you, all these things the Ruach HaKodesh come to do. And in all that, he said, people don't understand. You can't just say Yeshua HaMashiach and not know in your heart who that is. You can't just say YAHWEH and think that gives you the Ruach HaKodesh to show you exactly who's who and what's what. See, the reason why a lot of people don't really understand who Yeshua HaMashiach is, who Yeshua was, and who HaMashiach was, is because they have not accepted the fullness of the Ruach HaKodesh. So what they do is they take their natural intelligence, which is in their flesh. They take their natural understanding, which is in their flesh, which is their own self-understanding. They take their natural knowledge, which is in themselves based on how many books they can read and how much precepting and lining and little they can do. And they build up on that as the Ruach HaKodesh. But when you know that you know, really, if you have the Ruach HaKodesh, it's no reason you should be walking around here not understanding who the HaMashiach is. Who Yeshua is. It's no way. But because I struggle with that, I struggle with people preaching and teaching on these platforms for year after year after year after year. All these subscribers and all these numbers still don't know who Yeshua is or was and shall be. Still don't know who the HaMashiach is, was, and shall be. To me, if this Ruach HaKodesh teaches me as a young girl who it was, how is it all these years go by and you hear not one teach and able to identify what the Spirit of the Most High has taught you? It makes you feel like you're in a box alone. That's why I can say I can imagine Yeshua when it said it in there 3 times that he said not a word. Why? Because he had something greater. And that's why he said not a word, because he was 100% right, walking amongst 100% unright. And he said not a word. Why? Because saying it wouldn't have made no difference. The people mindset was going to believe and think the way that it was. So he keeps quiet on the things in which Sister Deborah is now speaking about and complete what he only came to do. So it's a lot of things he could have said and a lot of things he could have done. But he was charged to only do his part. That's why I said it's kind of sad to sit back in the year 2020 and still see that you have elders, you have men that's been on these platforms and been teaching and has a large multitude of following him. They don't even know who Yeshua is, was, and shall be. They don't even know who the HaMashiach is, was, and shall be. And it's kind of sad. And what happens? You remember that comforter that was to come? Oh, he's in me. And he's the one comfort me and say, Deborah, this need be. Meaning it's okay. It's okay. Everything you have invested in you, Deborah, is not of yours. It is of the Most High Yah. So when you see people not getting it, don't forget they still ain't got him. Let known all the other things that you desire man to understand, and yet they ain't gonna get it. They don't even get him, which is the Most High Yah, which makes a lot of sense. And that's how the Comforter come to comfort me, to assure me that it's okay. It's gonna be okay, because it puts me at a measurement of why the Most High brought a people to a land and allowed them to go through the things that they needed to go through. It need be, and they still need to continue to do the things that they suffer. They need it, because until the Most High has he already set the time and season, but until he is in his will to pull up off of a people, the people that are oppressing them, they're not going anywhere. They don't understand that there is a judgment still upon them. Because if you think, okay, if you go 40 years, what you mean judging the house of Israel and tribe of Judah first? Have we been judged for 400 years? See, in their fleshly mentality, you don't hear no one preaching, teaching it, nor ministering to the people because they don't get it. And the people don't get it either. And they don't want to get it because they can't see that far out. You see, all they know is that I'm swimming out in the deep to wherever they at. Or when YouTube come on Sabbath, I'm swimming out there. Everybody wants to go far out in the deep to where all these people are at, where they can like and subscribe. But they're never going to be able, I can't say never. It's going to be very hard to swim back to dry land, to safety. So I say unto you all, this is a short message. This is high time. This is high time. No other time. This is the highest level time period that we need to seek spirit and truth. And not so much as what man has to embed in our flesh. Because we need to understand that we are a spirit. And in that spirit, the only way he can connect with it is when you come to own up that you actually have the spirit. And you want him to come in and abide in you while you abide in him. But those are things that you're not going to hear very many, because once that spirit of truth come in you, you're going to be able to listen to a lot of people on these platforms, and you're going to be able to rightly divide truth from what is a lie. You're going to be able to be comforted in things that you have been told throughout times through the spirit, and you have been shown through the spirit, and you wonder why no one has touched that hem yet. And that's when the spirit of truth comes, and he is abide in you while you abide in him. So I'm saying to you again and again and again, it is high time that we worship him in spirit and in truth, and not so much in flesh and in flesh. Everything, many verses, it's explaining to us that we are not to lead to our own understanding, because understanding rests in the Ruach HaKodesh, whose mission is to give us the fullness of understanding, knowledge, and wisdom in which we can get from man, from books. But when it come down to understanding, he said, get it. In all your getting, that means in all your wisdom, in all your knowledge, you better get some understanding. And the beauty of understanding, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, is this. It don't mean understanding is not defined as right nor wrong. It's level you to understand what it is and why. And why is it at the level of where it's at? That's beautiful. It's understanding the whole mission in which the Most High Yah has designed before the foundation of the world. And that leads me back to what I was saying. That's why you don't have very many knowing who Yeshua really was. That's why you have many not even knowing who the Hamashiach is. And they're not going to. They're too far out in the deep. So they lead you out in the deep. And you go out far out. And it's hard to find your way back to dry land. Or YAHWEH is still waiting with his hand stretched out, like at the beginning of this video, a father calling his children. So I say unto you, a father in the heavens of creation, of all things, is calling you home. And home is a place to his bosom, to his closest to his heart, his spiritual heart. A lot of people don't even understand you have two of each. Just as you have a flesh, you have a spirit. Each one has a heart. Each one has a mind. So I say unto you, 99.9 of you all been feeding the flesh heart, the flesh mind. It's high time you get in tune with the spiritual heart and the spiritual mind, because that's the part of you that loves them some YAHWEH. Will show out and show up when it come down to YAHWEH. That is the only part of you. But if you ain't tuned into that, and you've been diving and swimming out to the sea, to all the Facebook and YouTube messages and all this Patriot and all these other things that's telling you to come swim out to us, that you ain't took out time to find out, well, okay, who am I in the spirit realm? The only part of you that can worship the Most High Yah. You can't worship. You can't go in your prayer closet and go pray into him. For what? Why would you do that? He don't want your flesh. Your flesh don't know nothing about him. Your flesh can't come on one accord with him. Your flesh can't love him. It's what's in your spirit. But 99.9 don't understand the power of who their spirit really is, because it's that one that he said man has now known, good and evil. That spirit is willing to reach for that tree of life and eat of it. But that flesh won't let it. So Sister Deborah said to you, it's high time that we run into the hands of the Most High Yah and love on him with all our heart, soul, strength, and mind. Right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do it right now. That's where we need to be at today. And Sister Deborah says, shalom and shalom.